what I said earlier is that one of the great things about entrepreneurs is your drive and your vision and what gets you up in the morning. And one of the things, in fact, one of the wonderful things about entrepreneurship is you've got to believe, right? If you don't believe, and you kind of quiver, everybody else behind you is going to crack, right? You are the titular leader because you see this vision. I mean, if you think about it, how many of you are founders? Okay? Founders, and how many of you are engineers? Right? I'm going to tell you the bad news. You're no longer engineers. When you're a founder, you're an artist. Okay? You see things others don't. Michelangelo, when he was working on the Pieta, somebody came in and saw a 12-foot block of marble. And he said, "What the heck is this?" He said, "It's the most beautiful sculpture in the world." And when it's a 12-foot block of marble, he said, "You just can't see it." 2 years later, they come back, and their breath was taken away. It was the Pieta. If any of you have seen pictures, it is right up there. And they said, "How did you do that?" And he said, "I just removed the stone around the sculpture." And that's what a founder does. Beethoven was deaf when he did his last symphonies. But he heard something that no one else could hear. And like great founders, he was able to recruit early employees, the First Symphony, to play something that no one else had ever heard. And so founder of Van Gogh, sitting in a field at night, it's a blank canvas. Next morning, there's a picture of Starry Night. There was his ear, but there was still Starry Night. I was bored, I couldn't hear. But what you guys are doing are actually closer to what artists do, the founders. Because you see something, and then you recruit an early group to say, no, look over there. Look, can you see it? Can you see over there? Come on with me. We're heading over there. So if you don't have that vision and passion, you can't recruit the team, and you can't even believe your own vision. The problem is the conundrum about entrepreneurship is that the vision is most often a hallucination. And so you need some process in the back of your head to test that process without losing faith. And the customer development process is just a great way to explain to your entire team, listen, this is where we're heading. This is it. This is the business model. But you know what? We're not going to be so stupid to ignore facts as we get out of the building. And that's the problem of we're going where we want to go, but I'm going to ignore all input is what tends to put you out of business.
How do you balance that when a founder's got this incredible vision and they say, I know this is the direction we need to go, and they get there and they're just flat out wrong, which you've said most people are. How does a founder then come to grips with that and say, okay, well, my vision was all screwed up, but now my vision is this, and we're going to head this way. So
the mistake we used to make in doing this is we'd say, kind of like, we'll hire some early salespeople and we'll go out and try to pre-sell the product. And of course, I don't know if you know how that works. Let's say I just hired this guy over here as my salesperson. Go out and ask him about our new product. Ask him what he thinks. It sucks. It sucks. Tell him it sucks.
It sucks.
Okay, all right. And you ask a couple more people.
What do you want?
No, ask a couple more people. You're the sales guy. All right, ask him over here. Yeah. It sucks. Yeah, great. All right. Now come back and tell the CEO.
They don't want it.
Well, you don't want to say that.
All right. And what do you think the first time you tell me that I'm going to say? Any idea? You're not explaining it correctly. Get the hell back out there. Now go back out again. Go ask him. So, all right. Now come back out and tell me a second time. You're fired. No joke. Anybody recognize this from Silicon Valley for founders? It can't be wrong. Why did I fire him? It's my idea. He's an idiot. Right? Now wait a minute. Now we're going to do customer development. I'm on your board, or you believe the book. You're not allowed to hire anybody. You're the founder. Get the hell out and talk to customers. Now, the first time I talk to you, what do you tell me? It sucks. And I'm going, they just don't get it. Right? Anybody ever say, no one ever said that in this room, right? They just don't get it. Talk to somebody else. Nah, couldn't be. Now, about the third or fourth time, cognitive dissonance is setting in because I'm the founder. It's my idea, and smoke is coming out of my ears, and there's no place to hide. Right there, you just got why customer development is valuable. There is no place. We're just talking about human nature here. I could ignore it by blaming other people. Now I got to deal with my vision, meeting the facts head on. Now, if I actually understood this process and had in my mind the entire business model canvas, I could actually start asking intelligent questions. Well, like, what would you buy? Or, gee, I just heard you say you would buy it if it was painted pink. What if I painted it kind of pink? Or, and now I could actually engage in understanding the problems and successes. The best example of this in my own career happened just after I joined this company called Conversion Technologies in the very early 1980s. There was a founder who had been in Intel and an old company called Digital Equipment, and they were going to build what was called, back then, a radical new product called a single board computer. They were going to do an entire computer on a board because it had a microprocessor on it. Just a breakthrough. Because mini computers were a room full of stuff. And so he thought he was going to sell thousands of these single boards to other computer companies who would somehow embed them in their own machines. And so he went to the first company called, NCR, and they saw the board and said, "Oh, this is great, Alan." And Alan said, "How many will you take?" And they said, 4. He said, 4? You mean 4,000? No, 4. Well, why wouldn't you take 4,000? Well, it needs an operating system, it needs languages, it needs a box, it needs, you don't have any of that stuff. Alan goes, "Oh, they don't get it." Calls on another company called Prime Computer at the time. "Now, how many will you take?" 9. 9,000? No, 9. Same story. No operating system, no applications. Finally, this repeats, blah, blah, blah. He goes to a company called Burroughs. And Burroughs guy said, 6. And Alan actually knew what the answer was going to be. He said, "Oh, you just want 6 for the prototypes?" "Yeah." And he said, I guess you want an operating system." "Yeah, if we had an operating system and apps." He said, "Well, how many would you take then?" "Oh, we could sell 10 or 15,000. He said, "Well, what would the operating system look like?" And they kind of went, blah, blah, blah. He said, "We have that." "Well, does it have any application?" "Sure. Which ones do you need?" "Well, we need a word processor spreader." "We got that too." "And a box." "Oh, what kind? Steel?" No, plastic. We have a plastic version, And like Alan went back to his co-founder who said, now remember, this is the early actually it was the late 70s, who said, "Alan, you just can't write an operating system and applications at the time." And Alan said, "Why?" Because they were hardware people. "Well, where do you get them?" And his co-founder said, "The only place in Silicon Valley you could get them is Xerox PARC. You'd have to hire half a Xerox PARC." Next week, Alan Michaels hired half a Xerox PARC. Convergent went from 0 to $400 million in 3 years, selling complete computer systems. This is just before the PC era, and that's where I had my first VP of marketing job, watching this insane guy actually do customer development without actually understanding what the word was. He was ahead of the customers, he was listening, he was able to make claims and then make good on them by hearing what the customer needs and desires were. And that's where I learned some of this.